All right, so this is day 5 that we're doing. We're doing lunges. There are 3 types of lunge. There's split squat, there's lunge, and there's step up. Those are the 3 types we're gonna go over today. First thing I'm gonna show you is a split squat. I'm gonna do it with dumbbells, all right? I'm gonna start my left foot forward, and the first thing that I'm doing here is I'm making sure that I'm standing on a set of train tracks, okay? So what that means, quite simply, is that my feet are spaced apart. If I were to be standing on a tightrope, it would be like this. That's a tightrope. This is train tracks. You want to stand on train tracks, not a tightrope, so you have more balance, so you're wider. You have a wider base. If my left foot is forward and I got dumbbells in my hand, I'm going to bring this dumbbell in front, and what that's going to do, it's going to shift the center of gravity, keep it in the center, right underneath my pelvis. Especially if you're using heavy dumbbells, you really want to do that. Take a nice deep breath in. Angry bus driver, newspaper in the armpit, knife in the back. And I'm gonna descend down and forward as if I'm going down an escalator, right back up. Breathe in, descend down, forward, right back up. My eyes or my gaze is resting in front of me about 5 to 10 feet ahead. And that's where I'm looking throughout the motion. And I'm still doing the pickle jar with my foot here. And another point is that my knee is tracking over the outside of my foot. I don't let it collapse in, it's always on the outside here. Really quickly, let me show from this angle. And you notice how my rear leg here is straightened out, all right? I'm keeping that leg nice and straight as much as possible. Pretty simple. Your turn. Take your time with it. Grab those 2 dumbbells. Take your first step forward. Good, okay, make sure you have a nice wide stance. Make sure you're on a train track. So you have 1 foot here now and 1 foot there. It's not very wide. It could be a little bit wider. There you go. Remember, don't look at me, okay? Take a nice deep breath in. Exactly. Notice your rear leg now, it's bending too much, okay? You should get a big stretch in your rear leg. As you descend, there's a big stretch over here. It's a little bit uncomfortable. 2, good. Focus on driving that foot into the ground. Screw it in there. 3, perfect. Awesome. Other leg. Pretty straightforward, okay? Take the time to position yourself so you feel stable. That other foot, you got to twist that rear ankle out. You're going to bring this out like that. All right? And now adjust your feet. Test it out first. Just go for it.
Test it out?
You're going to see when you descend, you're going to notice that your legs are too close to each other. Actually, no, you're fine. 1. I want to see this foot pressing the whole time. 2, exactly. Push right through there. And 3. Good, put it down. Great. Now, if you were to do this without any weight, for starters, right? This phase of the training wouldn't last long. If you're doing this without any weight first, you'd keep your hands on your hips like this. Take a nice deep breath in. When I'm at the top here, I am pushing hard with that foot into the ground and I'm elongating my spine. I'm using the string theory again, and I am trying to be as tall as possible, but with both feet, I am pushing hard into the ground. That's the only thing that's keeping you stable. Everything else is straight. Let me show from this angle here. This foot, I am twisting it, okay? I am scissoring my hips. That's what that's called, okay? I'm bringing my hips. If I had 2 cowboy guns over here, right? And I step forward like this, this is called open hips. This is called closing your hips. Scissoring your hips, right? Like a pair of scissors. I'm twisting my hips in, and that's going to keep me stable and in proper alignment. So from the side, it looks like this. Rear leg nice and straight as I descend. My hips are scissoring. My cowboy guns are pointing forward as I'm doing this motion. All right, give it a try one more time. Focus on scissoring the hips this time. No weights now. Hands on your hips. Step into it. So right now you're standing on a tightrope, and that's going to give you a problem. Yep, don't look at me. Always adjust for yourself. You could feel it. Okay, so scissor your hips even more. Exactly. Keep the pressure in your feet. Go for it. Good. All the way down. Perfect. You feel a stretch right over here?
Yep.
Good. All right. That's a split squat. Why do we do split squats? Very briefly, they help open up the hips. They act almost like a stretch or a mobility exercise. And they're just very useful for preventing injury in your hip structure overall. So, you know, if you're doing a lot of these other movements in the MH5 system and you don't do split squats, chances are eventually you're going to have some tight hips. And so you want to keep those hips less tight, more flexible, more mobile. Otherwise, you're going to have some problems eventually. Now, that's a split squat. What is a lunge? A lunge is essentially the same thing, except instead of the knee going forward, actually, let me review this part here. A split squat, one of the key parts of it is that your knee is driving forward past the toe. It's way past the toe there, okay? That's what you're trying to do. You're trying to drive your knee past the toe. You're descending down an escalator. A lunge, however, has a knee that's like this, okay? So actually, I'm going to do an alternating lunge for you. I go forward like that, go down, come right back up. And the knee does not go as far forward. Still goes forward, but not as far forward. 2, 3. That's a lunge, okay? A lunge is dynamic. A split squat is static. A split squat, I'm here like this, and my feet stay there until I'm done the set. A lunge, however, I go forward and I go backwards. I lunge forward and I come backwards. The degree to which you bend your knee like this is totally up to you. If you want to go like that and make that your lunge and come up, fine. If you want to do it with a bit more of a vertical shin, it's up to you. Make sense? Let me show you with dumbbells. Here I am like this. I'm going to start my left leg. 1, 2, 3. Other side. 1, 2, 3. Cool? Pretty much the same thing. All you. Start without the dumbbells first. It'll be easier on you. Hands on your hips. Choose whatever leg you want to go forward. 1, okay, now watch it. Yeah, don't stand on a tightrope. 2, you still want to keep that rear leg straight. 1 more. Show control. 3, see how your foot is dancing? Your foot's doing this, right? That's a sign that you're not fully into the movement. Take a nice deep breath, jam that foot into the ground every time you do it. Squeeze, open the pickle jar. 1, get back into it. 2, very simple, 1 more. 3, simple. I'm going to show you again on my end. When I'm doing this movement, one of the first things I do is I test and I find my footing first, and I say, okay, that's good. That's about where I'm going to aim my foot every time. And then I'm really, really aggressive with how I plant my foot, grab the ground, I open the pickle jar, and then I push off. When I'm doing this, most of the weight is in the front of my foot, and I'm pushing off my big toe. That's going to address this muscle right over here. And I'm trying to make it nice and graceful, and I'm pushing myself right back where I started. That's graceful, isn't it, huh?
Are you sure I look as graceful?
Oh, okay. Go ahead. All you. 1, there you go. Big breath every time. 2, good. And 3, you're losing your sock there, but good job. Awesome. Now I'm going to show you, any questions about that?
Nope.
Okay, now I'm going to show you the step up. So we did split squat, we did lunge, step up. You're stepping up, and it's a strict step up. So it looks like this. I'm pretty much balancing 90% of my weight on this one foot, all the way to the bottom, all the way to the top. I'm going to show from this angle what it looks like. Now look at my rear foot here. Only my heel is touching the ground, and I come back up. What's the difference between a strict step up and a not so strict step up is people tend to push off with their rear foot. They tend to push off with this. So, push, and back down. I don't want you to do that, because that takes all the pressure off your lead leg over here. I want it to look more like this. Bend forward like that. All the pressure is in my right leg right now. And I'm really leaning forward. Why? Because if I imagined this as a deadlift and I had a bar here, I'm essentially doing a conventional deadlift, aren't I? Just like a conventional deadlift, one-legged. Same idea, still shaving the legs with the bar. Let me show you from this angle. And all that pressure is in my front foot. Want to give it a go? This one's hard. Here we go. Hand over there. Okay, so this dumbbell is going to be like that. You got to lean forward first. Great. This rear foot has to be closer to the step. Exactly. Take a nice deep breath in. Don't make that foot dance. See how you're losing your balance? Lean forward. Go down, lean forward, lean forward. You're not leaning forward, and that's why you're losing your balance, right? Keep the weight in that foot the entire time. Lean forward, more, more, more. There you go. That keeps the pressure there. 3, good, switch legs. Leaning forward is important because you imagine that you have a barbell here. It's just like doing a conventional deadlift. Even when you start, you have to be leaning forward. You gotta keep your center of gravity over that foot, otherwise you're gonna have difficulty. Go for it. Your foot is dancing. Pause here, breathe in. Down and up. Hold your breath, hold your breath, hold your breath, hold your breath. Remember, you only breathe in the bubble of the cave, right? Cave diver breath, that's where you're breathing. Great job, good. Perfect, put it down. That is a step up. I'm gonna show you from my angle again. You notice we're doing all the same things that we've done with the deadlifts. Angry bus driver, newspaper in the armpit, knife in the back, right? Cave diver breath. Open the pickle jar with your feet. Be sexy, right? Close the door, shave the legs. We're doing all the same things here. Look how close my rear foot is to the step here. Why am I doing that? Because I want my center of gravity to be right under my pelvic bone here. I want it to be right underneath me. And so I have to position myself accordingly. Otherwise, I'm going to be swaying back and forth. Look how forward I'm leaning. Look at these bars. Look at this bars hanging. It's hanging right in front of my shin, right? Take my time. 2, 3. That's it. Any questions? Pretty straightforward. We're done.